Well, welcome everyone to the start of 2019. I hope everybody had a great New Year's, and we're ready for another big, exciting year. We'll start off as normal with our flag salute, and then we'll have a few announcements. And it looks like then we'll have Bridge to Home's latest news presented by Mr. Foley, who is sitting here in our audience. And hopefully Gavin Tate will be here before we're ready for him, but he was going to talk about Valverde drinking water contamination, and we'll see what happens. Then it's Rick Drew for the 2019 IRS new tax laws, so that we all know just how we can write that loving check that we do every year to the IRS. And I know that I just sent in my last quarterly, and it was just so much fun. I was unbelievably enlightened. Then we're going to go back over the LMD and streetlight issue. And really, because that issue is something where the city has canceled the current ballot, but we're not done. And the city had put a bunch of stuff in there that was kind of very misleading. And so we're going to try to clarify it for you, and we're going to look at what we're going to go to the next council meeting to ask for, because even if we're not going to talk about streetlights, I don't know why they wouldn't talk about LMDs. Then our version of public participation, which is the first 5 people that want to speak for 1 minute, our next meeting preview, and then we'll adjourn promptly at 9 o'clock. You know, every month when we go through this, I look for some individual or a group of individuals that did something that was worthwhile talking about. And I noticed that this time, we had kind of a spread of things. We can celebrate when Deputy James Long prevents a tragedy from occurring. I think that's really a tremendous thing. And then we also can realize that some people, when they go through this process, ends up paying the price. And so this is a picture of Anthony Borges. He was the young man who, in the Parkland shooting, ended up holding the door open so that his fellow classmates could get out, and he ended up being shot 5 times. And so there was quite a bit of recuperation and so on and so forth for him. And then sometimes we end up grieving, especially with this officer, Natalie Corona, who was end up paying the ultimate price very shortly after getting out of the academy. She was a brand new recruit. So it just shows that you never know what happens, what's going to happen. There are heroes all around us, and sometimes you never know that when the situation may arise. And I always wonder, would I have the fortitude to step up when things are necessary to help my fellow individuals? And I just always hope that I would. So with that, Judy, would you lead us in the flag salute?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just a couple of announcements. I don't know if anybody saw it in the online, but we have got another great award coming. We have made the top 10 worst commuting cities in the nation. I'm going to wait to hear what everybody has to say about that. And we'll probably bring that subject back at one of our future meetings, and we'll talk about it, and we'll talk about what's going on to help preserve our traffic. It's just like Measure M. Do you remember Measure M from 2 years ago when they were all, were M for Metro, and they were all going to go and come up with all this money to help us? And I remember going to the meeting and said, if you don't fix the I-14, I-5 interchange, then you're not helping us at all. So what did they do? They gave us 2 more lanes on the 5 so we can get to the bottleneck faster. This is an eye chart, but it's something that I just found out about this morning. It turns out that one of our organizations here in Santa Clarita, it's actually in Newhall, and it's an arts organization. Their storage unit was the one that was caught up in a recent fire. and they lost $10,000 worth of materials, and evidently they weren't insured, and so they're looking to for a GoFundMe page to see if people will help them raise some more money to get stuff back in shape. And so when I send out the videos, you'll be able to read this, and if you want to, contact the organization and maybe help them out. But even though they had that kind of a difficult time, they are having a gallery session and at their location, which is 22506 6th Street in Newhall. And I cut it off a little bit, so I stuck the times on the side. From Friday from 5 to 8, Saturday 2 to 8, and Sunday 11 to 5. And you might stop by and take a look at what art is being accomplished here in Santa Clarita. For 2019, today at the Old Town Newhall Association, when I was there, the Hart representative gave us a list of everything that was going to occur within the next year. So again, I don't expect you to read that, but you'll be able to see it a lot better when I send out in the videos. And lastly, I hope everybody that was a part of this got their apology letter from the city of Santa Clarita, which says that they are canceling the ballot when we knew that was happening, and we'll talk a little bit more about this later, because we'll go through some of the things that were on the back of it. And if you have been following my articles, right at the beginning, Carrie Lujan, the communication manager for the city of Santa Clarita, turned around and said I should call her, and then she'd give me information. Well, I called her and spoke with her, and she didn't quite have all the information that I needed. So I was supposed to get back with her, or she was going to get back with me with Mr. Tenoyan. And I waited and waited. And so I started calling at the beginning of this week. I called on Monday and left a message, and I called on Tuesday and I left a message, and I called yesterday and today and I left a message. And she called me back. And she wants me to email my questions. So they're going to be, you'll see what those questions are when we talk about this later, and they're all related to what's left to be done.
Got one public speaker.
Okay. Who is it?
It's done.
Come on, Joan.
Good evening. I read with interest Al's report on his DMV appointment when he was trying to get that for his driver's license. And Ed had the occasion to actually change his to get a new one. So we were in Antelope Valley, and we found out that the facility is huge. I mean, ours is a little cracker box. This place was so huge, I couldn't believe how that city and its Lancaster and Palmdale have this huge facility. Okay, they don't tell anybody, but they are open on Saturdays. Not every Saturday. I did get a schedule from them, and they said, well, 2 days in this month of January, the 19th Saturday is not going to be open, and February 16th is a Saturday, and it's not going to be open. But you can go through there on a Saturday afternoon. There's hardly anybody there, and if you need anything from the DMV, it's not like over here in Newhall where people are coming from the valley to go to Newhall to go and get their driver's licenses or their different licenses for their cars and trucks. So I am giving you that information late because we wanted to make sure that we got through there before they decided to stop it. But Saturdays are good. Just make sure that you know which one, and they do have a website in their book that you can make an appointment. Thank you.
The weekdays are good also. That says you don't have to drive to Santa Maria like I did. Well, I tell you what, it's amazing. I really put him in a tizzy because I wanted him to take off the corrective lenses restriction on my driver's license because I had cataract surgery, and boy, that was a fun thing to do. But there's a lot of strange things. Sometimes dealing with the bureaucracy is so funny. Right now, my mother is 97 years old, and one of the things I started doing was taking care of her finances for her because she was having little difficulties. She didn't understand what it was. So I thoroughly understood that this thing when I saw it on the internet, because I would call places, all I want to do is pay the damn bill, and they would tell me, oh no, you can't do that. We can't tell you how much the bill is because you're not the right person. So I can see right away how Jackie Chan would have been frustrated for, all I want to do is pay the bill. Darn, you got, oh well. All right, so in 2019, we'll talk a little bit about city council elections, specifically about incumbent advantage. What keeps our city council from being elected? And then we're also going to talk about the city satisfaction survey, because I love it. The city, what they do in these kind of surveys is they ask you a question and they say, are you extremely satisfied? Are you satisfied? Is it okay? Are you somewhat dissatisfied, or are you extremely dissatisfied? And most of us are optimists. So, even if everything isn't perfect, we say, well, we're somewhat satisfied, right? Then they take the somewhat satisfied and the satisfied, they add them together, and they say, look how well we're doing. But there's other data that you can see that the trend is not going that way. And we'll share it with you then. Skyline Ranch, I'm going to give Party a call. Skyline Ranch said they did want to come back and do a presentation for us, and they did want to do it in February. We'll follow up on the ugly solar panels in the power in Canyon Country. The screening of the Burmite water cleanup on Soledad, which they claimed is not happened because of the fire department. I'm going to get a hold of the fire department. We never did hear what they were going to do about city embezzlement. That's 2 years ago, right? And according to the 2020 plan, they're going to have the Canyon Country Community Center, the Saugus Library, and new sheriff station, all built by 2020. Well, we already know that's not true. I've already seen information that said the Canyon Country Community Center won't be done until 2021. And then I was looking at another place where they're saying they're trying to figure out how they're going to get enough money to pay for the sheriff station. Because if you go into the budget, City of Santa Clarita budget, you'll see that there is they got $15 million from the county. They need another $63 million. This thing has been inflating in costs as things go. Then probably another $40 for the Canyon Country Community Center, and who knows how much for the Saugus Library. So you'll see that plus a whole bunch of more stuff. Those are the kind of things you're going to see in 2019. I'm going to find out why Gavin Tate wasn't here tonight, because he was going to talk to us about water, and he had committed to me that he was going to be here. I shared emails back and forth, and I also would have, if he was here, showed you a water report from a family in Stevenson Ranch that took their water, sent it to a test lab outside of the city, and it came back and said that it had arsenic in it. So I'll find out what happened to him, and maybe we can get him back here. So I want to thank you all for coming out on a very wet day and choosing to join us at the Canyon Country Advisory Committee. And I hope to see you guys all back next month. Thank you.